So the other day I had you guys ask me questions on my Instagram story about Disney and Universal, and I figured I would just, instead of blowing up my Instagram stories, go ahead and answer them in a YouTube video. So I'm gonna go on my Instagram and look at all the questions that were asked and just kind of go through those and answer them right now. All right, so here we go. The first question is, what's your favorite part about Universal? Honestly, this is like very easy, hands down, it's Diagon Alley. I literally love going into Harry Potter World. I like taking like the train between Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, because if you do, you just feel like you're in Harry Potter World and that is like your only concern. But if I had to choose one thing specifically, it would definitely be Diagon Alley. I like how everything is set up. I like that you just feel completely immersed in everything. And I think that the wand experience and like actually using an interactive wand everywhere is super, super fun. The next question is, when should I take my kids? And honestly, this is different for Disney and Universal, and I don't know which one this person was asking about. So for Disney, I would say like it's easy to just take them whenever. We took our son when he was 7 months old, and honestly it was so much fun. So I would say just whenever you're ready at Disney World. When it comes to Universal, we have not taken John Parker to Universal, and I don't think we will take him to Universal until he's like a little bit older and can understand and can actually ride some rides. So Disney's like kind of easy because they can get on almost any rides that are offered, especially at Magic Kingdom. But when you go to Universal, it's like you can't really ride anything. So we won't be taking him until he's probably like 7 or 8, honestly. So I don't know if that's the right answer, but that's probably what we will be doing. Some people were on some Universal questions, which I'm really excited about because I love Universal. Is Universal worth it? So I kind of had this mindset at first. Like, I don't know if I want to travel all the way down to Orlando and go to Universal instead of Disney World. So if I had to pick one, like, would I ever pick Universal? And honestly, I absolutely love Universal, so I would say that it's worth it. Crowds at Universal aren't going to be as awful as they are at Disney World, which is a huge plus. I would honestly say that like Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley are just as well themed as anything in Disney World, so there's also that. The rides are definitely much like more action-packed. I would say if you're a Harry Potter fan, you like literally have to go to Universal. I feel like there are a lot of people like on Instagram that are like, oh, I'm a Disney person, I'm not a Universal person. Like, I love them both. I think Universal is definitely worth it. Especially with like annual passes, how they are. I would probably get an annual pass to Universal over Disney this year. Ooh, if you only had 3 days in the parks with no park hopper, which park would you skip? I haven't really like had to think about any of the questions until now. So the only time we've not had a park hopper was during COVID when they weren't offered. So we just did 4 park days. But if I only had 3 park days and no park hopper, honestly right now, I think I would definitely skip Animal Kingdom. I hate to say that, but it's true. Right now, Animal Kingdom has very few rides. It's just not like overall as great as the other places. I am a big Star Wars fan and I love like Slinky, so I would not skip Hollywood Studios, and I feel like you definitely can't skip Magic Kingdom or Epcot. So by process of elimination, I would skip Animal Kingdom if I only had 3 days without a park hopper. That's not to say Animal Kingdom's a bad park. I think the food at Animal Kingdom is fantastic, and I think Pandora is super, super cool, and there's lots of great places to take pictures at Animal Kingdom. But when it comes down to it, I think that would be the park that I would have to say skip. Do you like Disney or Universal more? Depends on what I'm going for. Like, I would never say like I'd take Disney over Universal every single time, because I love the Harry Potter World sections. I like Disney more just like overall, because there are parts of Universal that I think are absolute garbage. Like, I hate the Simpsons area. I hate like standing right where you're entering in a Diagon Alley and looking across that little pond and seeing Simpsons. Like, it pisses me off. I think it's ugly. I think it's unnecessary. They should tear it down. I also hate like the Superhero Island and like Toon Lagoon or whatever it's called. Hate it. So there are parts of Universal that I absolutely hate, and that's not true about Disney. So I really like Universal for Jurassic Park and Harry Potter, but the rest of it, eh. That's not true. I love like the Mummy and all that stuff too, but you get my point. Like there's parts of Universal that I could like bulldoze and be fine. What is your favorite Disney park and why? Honestly, it's Magic Kingdom. Like, I'm not even gonna try to be like cool and say that it's like, oh, I love Epcot or like Disney Animal Kingdom for sure. No, I love Magic Kingdom. I think Magic Kingdom is the most magical park. I think that there are so many like fun things to try, fun things to eat. There are great like dark rides, boat rides, all the things that I love are in Magic Kingdom. So Magic Kingdom by far for me. This next one is such a tough question and I don't even know if I can answer it. Honestly, like it changes day to day for me, I think. But this question is, what is the best ride in Orlando? Okay, so there are 3 contenders here. Rise of the Resistance, Hagrid's, and Velocicoaster. And it really depends on what you're going for here. So I think that like the greatest ride would have to be Rise of the Resistance because like there's nothing like Rise of the Resistance. If you've ever ridden it, like you know what I'm talking about. Like you're in awe when you're on that ride. But when I rode Rise of the Resistance, I was like blown away, but I wasn't like emotionally attached to it, if that makes sense. It's great. It's fantastic. I love that ride. It's like everything you could ask for in a ride, right? Velocicoaster is a fantastic roller coaster and I'll leave it at that. Like, I don't think Velocicoaster is like way up there. It's an amazing roller coaster, like best roller coaster for sure, but like that's not what I love in a ride. So it's down to Rise of the Resistance versus Hagrid's for me. And I literally cried when I rode Hagrid's for the first time. So I'm gonna have to give it to Hagrid's here. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, have been for all of my life. So if you're not into Harry Potter, like it's a great ride, but you're just like, okay, you probably don't like fully understand what I'm saying here. But I love Hagrid's. I think it's the best ride in Orlando. But I do think Rise of the Resistance is the greatest ride in Orlando because it's like nothing else. But my personal favorite, Hagrid's. I love that ride. I want to go ride it right now. Do you have an annual pass? No, I don't have an annual pass to either Universal or Disney World. I do not think that this would be the year to get an annual pass, to be honest, because there are just so many people all over the parks at all times. We went to Disney World back in January and I have some vlogs from that and you can see how absolutely crowded it is. So if you want to go watch those, go check it out. It was insane and it was like supposed to be the downtime. There was no holidays around it. We went like during the week. It was crazy. So 2022, not gonna be the annual pass year for us. Kind of in the same like area of question would be, are you a DVC member? And the answer to that is also no. I don't think we would ever become DVC members because we just stay at Pop Century and we're totally fine with that. Like there's nothing wrong with Pop Century to us. I don't think that there's like too many added benefits of being a DVC member if you're fine with staying at a value resort. So is what it is. We're not gonna be DVC. What do you think about Lightning Lane Plus? I just can't like sit there and say like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna pay $15 per person per day to get the opportunity to look for Lightning Lane options that are going to sell out. I don't think I should have to pay $15 per person for something that used to be included as a fast pass and something that's like worse than fast pass. So I'm not gonna do it. I would say that if they had like the option to select your times, just like they used to with FastPass, then I maybe would do it. But if it only gives you like the next available, I don't want that. Like I want to be able to plan out what I want to do when I want to do it. And I don't want to be limited to make one selection at a time. So I don't think Lightning Lane is anything that's worth it. And I'm not going to give like Disney executives like the satisfaction of being like, oh yeah, we sold this much. Like we made this much money on Genie Plus. Everyone loves it. Like, no, we don't. What is your favorite food from each park? Okay, let's start with, I guess, Magic Kingdom. In Magic Kingdom, I love the Nutella like fruit waffle from Sleepy Hollow. It's fantastic. Such a good little snack. Unfortunately, they only serve it for like breakfast right now until like 11 a.m. I think, but it's great. And like you can just hang out and kind of chill by the castle. It's a really good place to get yourself a little snack. In Hollywood Studios, I really like the breakfast Ronto wraps. I think they are delicious, but the grilled cheese from the ABC commissary is so good. In Epcot, I've never really like found a food that I'm like absolutely attached to. I like the little s'more that they have in the Germany pavilion. It's pretty good, but other than that, I don't really have like any kind of food that I'm attached to there. And in Animal Kingdom, I really like the Satuli Canteen. I think any of the bowls from there are delicious, and Harambe Market is super good as well. I'm a big quick service person. That's pretty much what we do because we like to run around everywhere and ride as many rides as we can and take as many pictures as we can. So we don't really spend a lot of time sitting down to eat unless it's before park opening or after the park closes. So those are my big picks for all of the Disney World parks. And then in Universal, I love the 3 broomsticks. What is the worst ride at each park? This is kind of a funny question. So I'm gonna go in the same order. So starting at Magic Kingdom, I would say my least favorite ride that I've done would be, I guess, Small World. I don't like, the nostalgia is not there for me. It's not like, it just is what it is. It's very annoying. I have ridden it once and there was like a 45-year-old woman sitting behind me trying to sing every single word of the song and she didn't even know them, and it was literal torture. We got stuck. It was terrible. I guess the worst ride at Hollywood Studios is gonna be like you just spin around in circles and get yourself sick. Nothing I'm interested in. So at Epcot, I would say Mission Space. I'm not riding that. It makes you sick. It's just like, I'm actually just listing a list of things that make me sick. At Animal Kingdom, you really don't have any options. I don't even know if you consider It's Tough to Be a Bug like a ride, but if you do, maybe that. If not, then you gotta go with Dinosaur because there's no other rides that are bad. And then honestly, if we're talking about Universal, I cannot even tell you what the worst ride there would be because I haven't ridden a ton of rides at Universal. I'm only riding the rides that I want to ride when I go to Universal. And I'm not gonna spend my time like going and seeking out rides that I know are gonna be bad. So like, I've never even done Fast and the Furious because I'm not interested in Fast and the Furious and I'm not interested in the ride. I've never even done like the water rides there. I'm not interested in riding a bad ride. So I haven't and I won't. But since we've been talking about rides that make you sick, my husband gets so sick on the castle ride that he will literally walk through the queue because it's amazing and then dip out at the end. I would say the most overrated ride to me is Soarin'. Most overrated food locations. I honestly think that the Sci-Fi Dine-In is so overrated. So we went there like a couple of years ago and we were like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool. It's like a little drive-in movie theater. It was not that cool. No one talked the entire time because you're like sitting and you're facing the same way. So you can't even talk to everyone in your party, only the person you're sitting beside. And then the movies are like old movies and everything's dead silent. And I did not like that at all. So that to me is gonna be like the most overrated food location that I have ever eaten at. Favorite resort would have to be Pop Century. I love that Pop Century is like a tier above the All-Stars, but not like super expensive. Also, you get the Skyliner access, which is fantastic. What's your favorite thing to do on non-park days? Honestly, we don't like go and schedule like non-park days that much, but I do think that hopping resorts like on Skyliner or Monorail is a really good off-day activity, and I also think Disney Springs would be fun if you wanted to go do some shopping. 4D rides, do you love them or do you hate them? I am the most indifferent about them, but if I had to tilt one way, I guess I'd go with hate. Like, I don't hate them, but I definitely don't love them, and I'm not going to like be like, yes, let's go ride a 4D ride. What is your Hogwarts house? Pause this video, go comment your Hogwarts house below before I tell you mine. I'm a Ravenclaw. My husband's a Slytherin, and I kind of wish like deep down in my soul that I could test and be a Slytherin, but I can't. I can never get Slytherin on any test that I take. But like, I really do love that I'm a Ravenclaw. What is your favorite dining at Universal? Definitely the 3 broomsticks. I love it. Like the ambiance of everything is so cute, and hot butter beer. What is your favorite non-theme park vacation? I really like going to Hilton Head. Other than that, we like to fly to different cities and just like check out New York, Boston, DC, wherever. Hogwarts versus a velocicoaster. They're such different rides. They're both coasters, but like the velocicoaster is a thrill roller coaster through and through. and Hagrid's is more of like a themed coaster, and I am definitely going with a themed coaster, especially since it's Harry Potter. I love Hagrid's. What is your favorite sit-down meal at Disney World? My favorite sit-down meal at Disney World is definitely going to be Our Guest breakfast before the park opens, and this is not available right now, and it literally breaks my freaking heart. I hope it comes back soon. What are some cozy spots in Magic Kingdom where I can enjoy a meal? This is really fun, and this is a really good question. I would say like Pinocchio's, Gaston's for sure, but I have like a list of really chill places that you can hang out and enjoy a meal at Magic Kingdom, and that is on an Instagram reel that you can go see. I will link it down in my description so that you can just go click on that and save it for later. This one said, what is your favorite place to eat in Disney? And honestly, I feel like I've kind of answered this. If I had to choose like one place, I would say probably the Satuli Canteen or Harambe Market. It's just like a really good like bowl, and it's not like fried food that you're usually eating in the parks. So it's really great, but I mean, I can't really pass up a Gaston cinnamon roll. So I think that's all the questions that I got over on my Instagram stories. If you want to go follow me over there, I am Hannah's Photo Pass there as well, so that you can play along in fun games like this. If you have any other questions for me, please let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like this video if you found it fun, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to, and I will see you in the next one. Go live your dream.